Who are you and what did you do with Renae? Because I thought you lectured that fabric softeners are bad and leave residue, and that vinegar should be used instead. Confused. And then later in the thread, I'm pointing out a contradiction in content that she herself says. She has videos where she clearly says don't use fabric softeners, and here she is using one. Do you not see that as a discrepancy? So this video is not only for the person who left those comments, but to the 11 other people who liked the original comment. This comment was left on my video where I was talking about using Downy Rinse and Refresh and how I enjoy using it because my ADHD does not always allow me to remember that I left wet laundry sitting in the washing machine. And just like with that video, this video, not sponsored. Nobody asked me to make it, and I am not being compensated for mentioning the Downy name here. Since I am an educator, I did the work for you on this one. You're welcome. So first, we're going to go to Google, and what we're going to search is Downy Rinse and Refresh a fabric softener? If you Google that, obviously you get this result right at the top, and if you click on that link, it does bring you to the Downy website that answers a lot of frequently asked questions, including, is Downy Rinse and Refresh a fabric softener, and what is it? You can even see on their website, they describe what the product is and how it works, and they say that it's designed to remove odor-causing residues, not to lubricate fibers, which is what a fabric softener would do. They mention several times that it is not a fabric softener, and they even specify that it does not have the negative effects associated with fabric softener, which I find kind of funny because they're the ones that make fabric softener as well, but clearly they're being straightforward about it. It even says you shouldn't use this and fabric softener in the same load because it works in the opposite way. And you know what? I can understand if you don't want to trust the company that created the product. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to do another Google search. So we're just going to Google Downy Rinse and Refresh ingredients. In the ingredients list, not only do they say what each ingredient is, but it also describes in like 1 or 2 words what that ingredient does. So the ingredients are as follows: citric acid, which is used as a cleansing agent; sodium citrate, which is used as a water softener; propylene glycol, which is used as a solvent; C12 through 16 parath, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but that is a processing aid; sodium cumenosulfonate, which is a stabilizer; fragrances, if you happen to choose one that has a fragrance in it; and water. And if that doesn't describe what those ingredients do well enough, don't you worry, I Googled that for you as well. And I try to be very specific in my Google searches so that I get the right results. So I Googled, what does citric acid do in laundry? Very first result says that it softens clothes because it neutralizes the alkalinity of the wash caused by the detergent. So when we're talking about the pH scale, think back to chemistry. We have substances that are alkaline and substances that are acidic. An alkaline substance is going to neutralize an acidic one. Soaps and detergents are notoriously alkaline. Since citric acid is an acid, it neutralizes some of that alkalinity. So when they're describing it as a cleansing agent, what they're cleansing is any kind of buildup that's left in the fabric. So we know what that does. On to the next ingredient. What does sodium citrate do in laundry? It allows the soap to work more effectively. It allows the soap to work more effectively by acting as a water softener. Basically, the softer the water, the less detergent you need. The harder the water, the more detergent you need. So in this case, the sodium citrate is softening the water a little bit to allow the product to lift the buildup out of the clothes more effectively. Next ingredient, the one that I don't know if I'm pronouncing properly, but we Googled it. They call it a processing aid, and when I Googled it, I couldn't find any really good layman's terms description, so I changed the Google a little bit to what is this? And that brought me here, which says that it functions as an emulsifier and surfactant. We don't know what an emulsifier is? That's okay. That's what Google's for. An emulsifier is a substance that stabilizes an emulsion. So what is an emulsion? We can click on that and see that an emulsion is a fine dispersion of minute droplets of one liquid in another. Basically, an emulsifier is helping stuff to not separate. So the liquids that are in this product, this is helping everything stay together. But what's interesting to me is when I looked up what an emulsifier is, in this description, it actually talks about what a surfactant is as well, which was going to be my next Google search anyway. So many household cleaners and laundry detergents contain surfactants that emulsify oily dirt particles so that they can be diluted and washed away. So that ingredient is helping the other ingredients not separate, and it's also, again, helping lift the stuff out of your clothes, not add them into it. And finally, what does sodium cumenosulfate do in laundry? I know this is a lot of words, but what it boils down to is it improves solubility and efficacy of surfactants. So that ingredient that we mentioned before, this helps it dissolve and it helps it just work better in general. And when I Googled what it does in simple terms, it increases the ability of water to dissolve other molecules. And then the final two ingredients are fragrances and water. And I would hope that we already know what those do enough to where I don't have to Google it for you. All right, so real talk. Comments like these are a big part of the reason why it is so difficult for creators to make content sometimes. Because even for the people who claim to be fans of our content, a lot of times it seems like you are just looking for the tiniest reason to vilify us. The elapsed time on my screen recording of me doing all of those Google searches is about 7 minutes. And that's if you wanted to explore every single tiny little iota of detail. So rather than taking those 7 minutes to do a little bit of research to see if what you were saying is true, you instead opted to make me the villain. And 11 people liked that comment without even doing their own research as well. This product is not a fabric softener. If it had been, I wouldn't have made an ad for that. I can talk about how I value integrity until I am blue in the face, but some people, it doesn't matter what I say. If I have even the slightest what people perceive as a misstep, even though it wasn't, instantly everybody wants to hop aboard the let's hate this creator train. You want to know why I shared that video in the first place? It's because I struggle with my mental health. I happen to be in a pretty good place right now, which is why I'm able to talk about it. But yeah, I struggle with my mental health. I struggle with my ADHD. And I happen to find a benefit of this product that also helps with my ADHD. And I wanted to share that because I thought it was helpful. And that's the response I got. And saying things like, oh, just block the haters, just ignore the haters, is also not helpful because it doesn't matter how many people I block, there will always be people like this. I can't just not look at my comment sections because then I am ignoring my audience completely, and my platform is based around education. You can't ignore the people that you are trying to reach because then I would, in fact, be lecturing, as you say. So the harsh reality of being a creator is that we don't have the privilege of being able to just ignore and just block the people that leave comments like this. Because first of all, even if I did, I would never stop blocking people. When you have an audience as large as mine, it doesn't matter how good your content is, there will be comments like this, and I'm going to see them. After doing this for 3 years, I'm kind of getting used to it, unfortunately, but I just wanted to share this video to say that if you are going to vilify a creator, first and foremost, make sure that you're doing your research beforehand so that you know that what you're saying is actually true. And secondly, and even more importantly, some of y'all seem to forget that yes, I am a content creator, but I'm also a human being. And if you think so little of me as a human that you were willing to vilify me at the drop of a hat, you're not a fan of my content. Think about that the next time you comment.